Why? It's an African one. Yeah.
Beats by Amza.
Yeah, me I like it. Salty soul. This my African hands, them gon' love you. Yeah. My African lips, them gon' kiss you. Whoa. My African hips get down for you. Whoa. My African legs, them gon' run to you. Whether you come here to break dance, I be you come here to shake hands. You come here to make plans. Never would it reach as motherland. Whether you come here to rock with me, oh, I be not to find good, oh. Everything they, oh, ever would it reach as motherland. Anywhere you go, London, USA. Nowhere be like Africa. Nowhere be like home. Anywhere you go, New York, Chicago. Nowhere be like Africa. Nowhere be like home. Biko eruya wayo. Wayaka. Karibu kiti. Utapewa nini? Ayayaya weruya wayo. Wayaka. Karibu kiti. Utapewa nini?
This my African artist will love you. This my African arms they will squeeze you. Yeah. My African ears will listen to you. My Kenyan legs will run to you. Yeah. Now come on, umekuja ku break down. Umekuja ku get down. Umekuja ku take chance. Hakuna matata kama umekuja kulipa kupiga densi hapo ulipo kata kiuno anywhere you go London USA nowhere be like Africa nowhere be like home anywhere you go New York Chicago nowhere be like Africa nowhere be like home
Biko eruya wayo. Wayaka. Karibu kiti. Utapewa nini? Ayayaya weruya wayo. Wayaka. Karibu kiti. Utapewa nini? Lele. It's an African one. Yeah, me a say. Soldier come, soldier go. Your home now your home. Irreplaceable. Anywhere you go. London, USA. Nowhere be like Africa. Nowhere be like home. Anywhere you go. New York, Chicago. Nowhere be like Africa. Nowhere be like home. Biko eruya wayo. Wayaka. Karibu kiti. Utapewa nini? Ayayaya weruya wayo. Wayaka. Karibu kiti. Utapewa nini? Lele. Africa, Africa, yeah, yeah. Sweet like banana, baby.
yeah 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 why samputuma petre sampatama zuku wangadana deshe wadabi odabi madabi anybody wannabe nobody anybody wannabe nobody wanbody wanchogobi wannabe chogobi wanchogodi ba 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 sampatama petre sampatuma puchu sampatama pocho sankatanga puchu sampatama petre sampatana pumpu sampatana petre
Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Adil Scali, the Senior Project Officer with Digital Opportunity Trust, and I'll be one of your hosts today. for the Speaking Out, Reaching Out Youth Summit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nima Nzani Kasim, founder of the Hijabi Mentorship Program, a community-based organization in Kenya, Kwale County. I'm also an alumni of #Youth Street Team Program. Thank you all for joining us today, and a very special welcome to our long-standing partner, the Mastercard Foundation. We also want to welcome DOT's Expansion's country partners, Ghana Think, and the Youth Equality Center in Uganda.
Today, Digital Opportunity Trust is excited to launch an important body of knowledge. At the height of COVID-19 pandemic, DOT, with the support of the Mastercard Foundation, mobilized our network of youth in Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda. During the pandemic, 46 youth investigators led a comprehensive investigation into the impacts of the pandemic on young people, reaching more than 1,500 of their peers. Impressively, this investigation took place through telephone interviews and surveys, of course, all set against the backdrop of a global pandemic. Our investigation was inclusive of diverse voices and vulnerabilities. Youth were contacted across rural and urban divides, employment status, education level, and household dynamics. And as a result, youth from all walks of life participated, including young parents, youth with disabilities, and young refugees. Today's event is the official launch of the findings from this Speaking Out, Reaching Out investigation. These findings and youth-led recommendations that accompany them are critical in helping us to understand how the needs of young people changed during the pandemic and what we can all do about it. So please join this conversation online. We encourage you to post on social media what you're hearing. Just use #.youthsummit. And just a quick reminder, please stay on mute during the event. You'll have the chance to share your thoughts later during the breakout sessions. But Nima will share more for now.
Thank you so much, Adil. So we have a very busy agenda over the next 3 hours. We're soon going to hear from DOT's Regional Advisor for Africa and DOT Rwanda Country Director, Violette Uwamutara. We'll also have keynote remarks from Kafui Mills Odoi, who is the program lead youth engagement with the Mastercard Foundation. The Mastercard Foundation has been DOT's key partner in this project, actually. Later on, we'll have a panel discussion with 3 leading entrepreneurs and community leaders who use digital skills and platforms to thrive during the pandemic. After that, we'll be heading to our country breakout rooms. These sessions will be an opportunity to learn about the specific findings from each country, and there will be time for you to share your thoughts. Please don't hold back on that one. Finally, we'll hear about an interactive funding event happening later this week, and we'll close the summit with a skill build session.
And before we go on, I wanted to share a little bit of background about Digital Opportunity Trust. As many of you know, DOT is a youth-led movement that mobilizes and inspires all underserved and disadvantaged young people with digital literacy skills, 21st century skills, and the self-confidence that will enable them to thrive in an inclusive digital economy. With the support of partners like the Mastercard Foundation, Global Affairs Canada, and IBM, DOT has successfully delivered 20 years of youth empowerment. DOT also believes in amplifying the expertise and experiences of young people. And we want to thank the team of youth leaders who provided valuable inputs into the format and program of today's events. You all know who you are, so thank you. We're also grateful for the involvement of the youth investigators in this Speaking Out, Reaching Out project. So before we hand it over to Violette to provide opening remarks, let's watch a short video hearing from a few of our youth investigators as they share their experiences with this project. Tech team, take it away.
being involved in this investigation was intriguing and challenging because for the first time as a researcher, I was conducting research from a virtual perspective, something I had never done before. Of my almost 5 years experience in research, I was always doing in person and lots of traveling around the country. And so this was quite different, and it's challenged me to learn how to use new digital tools. And I found that to be very fascinating.
I was so curious because never before had I had to interview people because of pandemic. Remember, the COVID-19 pandemic was very, very unique. It's a very unique challenge, one that perhaps nobody had faced before here. So it was really exciting for me to be involved as an investigator, listening to the voices of young people, and it really helped me at least exercise a sense of open-mindedness.
Most of the young people who are doing businesses moved online. Like they started the referring their products online, and also like even now after pandemic, so many businesses, online businesses, is something that is growing and it's being more common, which was not the case before the pandemic. And things like advertising on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram, all the things are really growing, and it all started during the pandemic.
To work as the team lead youth investigator for the Ethiopian projects was first, at the beginning, it was frightening for me because I never had this kind of big opportunity like doing it on my own. But after I joined the project, it was really helpful for me just to build my confidence, to work deeply, directly within the community in that way. And it helped me see how to work in team, also how to understand, how to build.
It's very important to share the voices of young people in communities. This is because the young people are the future generations of the country and the future builders of the community.
I want to say a thank you to Digital Opportunity Trust for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the research. It gave me a wider perspective of what other young people are doing generally in Ghana, and I learned to empathize with a lot of stories, and it changed my approach to doing business and my approach to what I call my career path.
Thank God for the way they are involving the young people in their projects. Like especially the way they value the voices of young people, the way they listen to young people, the way they trust, actually they trust and give opportunities to young people. I think it's something great that is helping young people out there. And I think if other organizations can learn from them or can support and trust young people that way, I think we can have more young people empowered, starting businesses, getting jobs. So I just want to appreciate what that is doing.
Great. Well, it was great hearing those reflections from Brian, Damaris, Daniel, Hope, and Milat. Thank you to them and to all of our youth investigators, many of whom are with us today. So next, let's hear from DOT's Regional Advisor for Africa and DOT's Rwanda Country Lead, Violette Uwamutara. Violette, welcome.
Thank you very much, Adele. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Thank you so much. I am delighted to be here today, and I extend my deepest thanks to our long-standing partner, the Mastercard Foundation, and our country expansion partners, Ghana Think and Youth Equality Center, to our inspiring panelists and facilitators who will be guiding us through important conversation today, and to all of you joining us as we celebrate the courage and creativity of young leaders across Africa. Today, our goal is to listen and engage with the youth as they lead us into the post-pandemic world. The pandemic has had detrimental impacts on youth employment, and livelihoods in Africa. It has amplified global inequalities and has exacerbated challenges in the core areas of DOT's work, youth, work, and digital. Many of the young people here today are those that have risen up beyond the turmoil, embraced the unknown, and have demonstrated remarkably their creativity, innovation, and leadership. However, their stories, their voices, and their recommendations for an inclusive recovery are still not heard. We cannot leave youth and women behind. If we do so now, we've failed our mission and the future generation. We need to shift our approach to listen first, engage diligently, act together, and invest wholeheartedly in young people. The belief in the power of youth has been in DOT's DNA for 20 years. This year, DOT is celebrating 20 years of co-creating solutions with young women and men, 20 years of implementing programs by youth for youth, and 20 years supporting young women and men to overcome the digital divide through building their self-confidence and equipping them with digital and 21st century skills. As we enter into a time of recovery and recalibration of our global systems, we need to create opportunities for youth, particularly young women, to unleash their potential for an inclusive digital economy. It is necessary and possible now more than ever. That is why I am so thrilled to have so many people gathered today at the Speaking Out, Reaching Out Youth Summit to launch the outcomes of a youth-led investigation project in partnership with the Mastercard Foundation. This project takes place across 5 African countries and reaching over 1,500 young people. It amplifies the voices of youth. It recognizes them as solution providers, innovators, and entrepreneurs. At a time when our world is shifting to a digital-first approach for accessibility, inclusivity, and safety, we need youth at the front and center. That is why we are so proud to be in partnership with a like-minded organization such as the Mastercard Foundation, who shares our commitment to youth, women, and to sustainable impact. As we look towards the power of youth over the next 20 years, bridging the gender digital divide is more important than ever. Digital is the way of the future. I believe it is the most important piece of the sustainable development agenda. There continues to be a gap between the infrastructure that enables universal digital access and the adoption and active participation. At DOT, we approach digital inclusion from a human perspective. We provide the human empowerment that makes digital transformation achievable. The results of digital inclusion will cut across many sectors and industries: financial inclusion, equitable health, education, and climate, to name a few. That is why every day DOT continues to mobilize and inspire all underserved and disadvantaged young people with digital literacy, 21st century skills, and the self-confidence that will enable them to thrive in an inclusive digital economy. As we know, when young women and men are equipped with skills, confidence, and supported by an ecosystem of partners, transformative change in their communities will have a multiplier effect and can outlast any single project or program. As we move from pandemic response to pandemic recovery, local ownership, digital inclusion, and empowerment of young women and men is essential. When we invest in a youth-led digital future, communities can own their resilience and build forward better. As we carry forward our work in digital inclusion in the post-pandemic world, I leave you with one message. Youth are speaking, they are reaching out. We must listen to learn and act to scale. Thanks everybody, welcome, and over to Adele.
Thank you, Violette, for those opening remarks. And you're absolutely right. It's so important to listen, and we will be listening to some of these youth and about these findings in just a moment. I think we can all agree about the importance of putting people at the heart of digital inclusion. As you said, digital inclusion will cut across many sectors and industries, and it's so important to have these conversations early and often. And I want to affirm what you shared, Violette, that this summit is all about exploring the recommendations by youth with youth as a way to develop actions for a more inclusive recovery. And so without further ado, we'll next hear from Kafui Mills-Odoi, the lead youth engagement with the Mastercard Foundation. Kafui was awarded the Youth Ambassador Award by the Association of Ghana Industries Construction Sector in 2018, after she successfully led a large-scale international partnership between global communities and the Mastercard Foundation. That project focused on equipping over 25,000 disadvantaged Ghanaian youth with trade skills for the construction sector, and transitioned a little over 17,800 young people to jobs in the construction sector. She is a development aid expert by profession, a certified counselor, and a member of the Ghana Psychology Council and the American Academy of Christian Counselors. Kafui has also influenced international development interventions for youth work readiness, active citizenship, education, gender and inclusion, while designing or implementing government, corporate, and international donor-funded initiatives in several West and Central African countries. So welcome, Kafui. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Adele, for the kind introductions. Our young leaders and trailblazers joining us for today's summit. The leadership team of Digital Opportunity Trust, conveners of this August gathering. Representatives from all partner networks joining today's conversation, ladies and gentlemen, good day. On behalf of everyone at the Mastercard Foundation, I bring you warm greetings. It is truly an honor to join you all today for this great convening. I am delighted to see so many young leaders joining us from across the world, and particularly the African continent. And so, for those hearing about the foundation for the first time, please allow me to share a little bit about what we are, who we are, and our work. The Mastercard Foundation is a private foundation, one of the largest in the world, established in 2006 through a gift of shares from Mastercard International when they became a publicly traded company. The foundation operates independently under the governance of its own board of directors and leadership. Early on in 2009, the foundation made the decision that we would focus our investments on one region, Africa, with our vision focused on creating a world in which everyone, especially young people, have the opportunity to learn and prosper. So you may be asking, why young people? excuse me. And why Africa? I tell you, Africa is home to the youngest population in the world, with 70% of our sub-region, sub-Saharan Africa, under the age of 30. Today, the median age in Africa is 19 years, and by 2050, 1 in 4 people in the world will be African. This presents a huge opportunity to equip young Africans to fully realize their potential and to be change makers and leaders in their communities. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. The Mastercard Foundation, therefore, sees an opportunity in supporting our young people tremendously. And we see this opportunity and are fully committed to ensuring that young Africans are not only included and are thriving in fulfilling and dignified work opportunities, but also that they have access to the tools and resources they require to learn and prosper, which is why the foundation launched our bold and ambitious Young Africa Works strategy in 2019 to enable 30 million young Africans, 70% to be young women, to access dignified and fulfilling work by 2030. Our Young Africa Work strategy is currently being implemented across 7 countries on the continent: Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, and Senegal. The strategy is being adapted to local context to ensure that in each country, we work with young people, government, stakeholders, the private sector, and other development partners to unlock the potential of sectors with the most promising prospects of creating dignified and fulfilling work opportunities for young people. Youth are the center of everything we do. And why? At the foundation, young people are at the center, which is why the foundation's youth engagement strategy institutionalizes youth who are mainly young potentials dwelling at the center of all the work we do and more. And we believe in engaging, listening deeply to, connecting and partnering with young innovators, change makers, entrepreneurs throughout their journey to be transformative leaders and active change makers in their communities, countries, and the world at large. Our strategy institutionalizes something. It shows itself in the fact that while we are committed to working in the service of young people and their dreams and potential, we are certain of collaborating with them and with them too. We recognize, therefore, that we achieve long-lasting impact when we create spaces for diverse youth voices to engage and to be represented. We are committed to including young people throughout our decision-making and supporting initiatives where young people are creating, implementing, and monitoring their own ideas. As such, our partnership with DOT is critical to what we do. It is critical because we see the research conducted across many of the countries in which we have active programs during a pandemic has captured views of young people. These views are both revealing and inspiring at the same time. One of the most profound findings from the research was the overwhelming views that young people want to be consulted and included more are the decisions that have impact on them. They told us that we should create for them and with them, or we should not create for them without them. So for that and for us, this is our guiding light and reaffirms what we have always believed. The fact that when we include young people always and allow them to lead, we create better outcomes for them, their generation, and generations that will come after them. Thank you. Over to you, Adil.
Wow, thank you so much, Kafui. That was a powerful speech, and it was really inspiring just listening to that. Now that we've heard from Dot and the Mastercard Foundation, let's check out a short animated video that will give us an overview of the important findings from the Speaking Out, Reaching Out investigation. Tech team, I'll pass it off to you.
What a great video. There's so much to unpack there, but we will have the chance to learn about the country-specific findings later in the summit during our breakout room sessions. And just a reminder for everyone, we want to engage you in the chat. So please, you can share your favorite quotes and comments and questions on social media. Just use #.youthsummit. Next on the agenda, we move to our lockdown log on panel, which will be moderated by Violette Uwamutara. As we saw in that animated video, technology and digital skills played a critical role in enabling youth to navigate the pandemic and accelerate recovery. And that is the focus of this panel discussion. And before we turn it to Violette, I'd like to briefly introduce our panelists, who are amazing, award-winning entrepreneurs and community leaders. So first up, we have Ajoa. Ajoa Fasua is the CEO and founder of Women's Haven Africa, a female tech innovation hub located in Kumasi, Ghana. It runs capacity building, training in ICT, leadership, entrepreneurship, and other topics, and is also a safe space where young women and girls can gather and learn. Ajoa was one of the young women interviewed as part of the Speaking Out, Reaching Out investigation. Welcome, Ajoa. We next have Jesse. Jesse Anjishi is joining us from Nyando district in Kenya. He is the founder of the Smart Ladies Initiative, which he launched in July 2020 when he saw that young women in his district were being disproportionately impacted by the effects of COVID-19. This initiative trains women and girls in ICT skills, workplace readiness, handicraft production, and financial management. Jesse was a member of the second .youth street team cohort. Welcome, Jesse. And finally, last but not least, we have Tadim. Tadim Uwizeye is based in Kigali, Rwanda, where she is the founder and CEO of Olado, a popular online marketplace in Rwanda, which I all invite you to visit. She established Olado in 2017 with the mission of making the Rwandan shopping experience easier through e-commerce. Rwanda named Olado the best tech innovation project at the Youth Connect event in 2018. And Tadim has taken part in a number of startup support opportunities in the country. Welcome, Tadim, and thank you to all three panelists for joining us today. So without further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to Violette to kick off the conversation.
Thank you, Adele. I'm so pleased to be facilitating this conversation with our amazing young panelists. Digital literacy has been a focus of DOT's work for 20 years, and it has been fascinating and inspiring to see how these skills have been applied by young people to find solutions and to build resilience during the pandemic. Digital skills are a vital way for youth to access information and digitally enabled opportunities that can improve their livelihoods and contribute to the well-being of their families and communities. The stories and the experiences of these three panelists will illustrate this. And with that in mind, let's welcome Ajoa, Jesse, and Tadim. I want to start by hearing how the COVID pandemic affected your initiatives and communities. Ajoa, you have been running ICT leadership and entrepreneurship programs through Women's Havens Africa since 2019. How did you and your team respond during the pandemic?
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here to share what we have been doing in Ghana, Women's Haven Africa as a female tech and innovation hub. We all know how COVID-19 affected most businesses during, the season. And then what we as a tech hub had to do to be able to still create impact in the midst of that situation. During the pandemic in Ghana, there was a lockdown. And as a female tech hub, there were ongoing projects that were being run as a hub. But due to the lockdown, it means that most of these projects had to be halted, and then we were not able to effectively operate as a hub during that short season. So what the hub did was, number one, to be able to launch online courses, and then also be able to create online programs through various digital platforms. Number one was Teachable, which is one digital platform that can be used to actually create digital content. And then also the Skillet platform, which is also another digital platform that is able to be used to create online content. So with the first approach, what had to do with relaunching programs online, we now had to put resources together to be able to translate our program online. And then the impact was that this enabled us to be able to attract a larger number, because we're able to attract more people even beyond Ghana. And then also we're also able to tap into the expertise of other global experts who, if we were doing the program physically, we wouldn't be able to have them on board. And so we're able to use platforms like Zoom and then Google Meet to be able to have some of these meetings, which was very, very impactful. And for the first time, we had a larger number even than the usual physical meetings that we were holding. And so this means that we were still able to achieve the objective of the program, even in the midst of the pandemic. And then secondly, we also realized that most of our beneficiaries who were in the house needed to still be able to assess the impacts that we were creating. And therefore, we had to be able to train some of our trainers to be able to create online content, which will be easily accessible to all our beneficiaries, no matter where they found themselves. And so platforms like Teachable and the Skillet platform were some of the digital tools that were used to be able to create content. And with these platforms, no matter where you are, you can actually create content, and then your beneficiaries would be able to access the content at any point in time. And so this helped us to launch online courses in both vocational skills and then tech skills. And then our beneficiaries were able to access these programs online, even though there was a pandemic.
Thank you so much. Kadim, you have been active in Rwanda's e-commerce market since 2014, originally with Jumia Market Rwanda, and since 2017 with your online marketplace, Orlando. How did the COVID-19 lockdown change the demand for online marketplace in Rwanda?
Thank you very much, Violette, and thank you everyone who's here. So it's a great pleasure to be here on this panel discussing about the digital opportunity inclusion. So as you asked, e-commerce in Rwanda was pretty much new when we started it in 2017 and 2018 and 19. So it wasn't really an active thing or an active system that Rwandan were used to use. So it was hard for us e-commerce players to convince people or to convince vendors to work with them or to use online shopping. So when when COVID-19 pandemic hit and the lockdown measures were put in place, there weren't any other option that people could use to get what they need on the market. So that's when e-commerce get boosted, get visibility to show people, to show Rwandans that it is an opportunity that is there, it is a facility that is in place that they can use to avoid contracting the virus. So that's when we comes in, e-commerce players like Olados and many others. So we were there to support them, to offer them a way they can access all the necessity products or anything they wanted on the market, where we were delivering them to their home, using the COVID measures that were in place in the country, so that people can be able to continue live their life, and yet there were a pandemic. So it was a very good opportunity for us, because we got how we can now convince convince people or vendors or other people, youth engaged in made in Rwanda production, so that they can use e-commerce platforms to sell their product and reach out to more clients. That was a very good thing for e-commerce players when the pandemic hit in, even though like it was some other problems that the pandemic brings, but at least it boosted the visibility and the trust in people. People get to trust that e-commerce can be possible in the country, that the facilities they have, the internet infrastructure that is in place, they can use it and get to shop online. That was a boost that helps us to work with different vendors. We doubled our numbers, the numbers we were working with, and clients now are used and they are safe to use our platforms because they know that they are secured, they can pay online, they can do whatever they want online, and it's a successful thing. And we are also very happy that we at least participated and contributed to avoid the COVID spread.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Jessie. You have been involved in many youth empowerment and community development projects in your district in Kenya. You started the Smart Ladies Initiative in July 2020. Why was the pandemic the right time to launch this project?
Thank you so much, Violette. Actually, pandemic caught us unaware, so it came and then it was followed by a total lockdown. So people were confused. Many people lost their jobs, including the women, and mostly actually women and children were most affected. And you also see that the school also closed down, and the high school going girls and college going ladies were forced to stay at home. And you see, they had to support themselves because they have been depending on their parents mostly to support them. And you know, the issues to do with for example, the provision of sanitary pads. Normally, this is an issue that in Africa, especially, women are the most concerned. So if the mother cannot support their children or their girls with the sanitary pads, so many girls will be forced even to sell their bodies in return to get some small cash so that they can support themselves. So this was a big issue, and it made us to see it from another perspective. And that's why we decided to start encouraging the women and training them on handmade artifacts. So they were able to make for example, doormats. We were making pillowcase, backrests, and even homemade soap. This is a skill that you just need to be there online, and we will connect you, and you are able to learn. So most of them were able to learn these skills, and I'm very happy because even now we have in the process we have developed many digital ambassadors. So this one was followed by the DOT, and the DOT was training us on entrepreneurship and digital skills. So the women are very happy, and they are able now to connect, and they are able to support their own women in various levels. And we are happy today. And I was making even jokes with some women in a certain meeting, and they were saying, as much as Corona was a big challenge, they told me now they are so much surprised because they never knew anything to do with digital market or how to use a digital space. So I'm a man who is very glad today that I've been able to empower so many ladies, and I'm not regretting to have done this. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. We need male champions. Thank you all for sharing about these difficult months and the pivots you have put in place. I am very much inspired by the work that you do every day. I want to focus on the impact of technology and digital skills during the pandemic. Many studies show that the coronavirus pandemic accelerated the shift online. And at the same time, our speaking out, reaching out investigation found that only a small proportion of business owners made digital pivots or started new tech ventures during this time. This suggests more work needs to be done to help young innovators recognize and reimagine their business ideas in the online world. One of the youth-led recommendation of the Speaking Out, Reaching Out investigation is to support youth to make business pivots, including through digital skills training. This could help them to keep their business afloat while the effects of the pandemic are still being felt. It could also enable them to take advantage of long-term trends that are seeing more and more customers go online. Starting with Jesse, ICT is an important component of the Smart Ladies initiative, but I understand that many women in your region were not previously online. Could you tell us about some of the ways in which your trainees use social media to sell their handcrafts, and what impact did this have? Over to you, Jesse.
Well, thank you so much again. Actually, one of the things that we saw here is that many women are not computer literate as compared to other districts. In Nyando, many women are less privileged because even getting seeing the computer or the machines was not easy. Most of the women even are using like just the normal phones that are not internet enabled. So we saw it is very important if we can start an initiative that will develop the capacity of women and mostly youth plus people living with disability. So that's why we started the initiative of ICT, Basics in ICT, which was followed by Dot. Thank you so much, Dot, for coming in. You've really supported in digital marketing and entrepreneurship. And we are very happy because the women are able to connect and use this platform. We have seen many women using the digital space. Most of them, they use even the YouTube to do research, to get new technology and techniques that can support them to advance in their artwork. Women are also using their WhatsApp status. Wherever they post their things there, people see and sometimes they inbox them and they come. They want to hear more from what they are doing. Mostly also women are using nowadays Facebook business space. And we are very happy because through this, we've been able even to sell our artifacts, our products globally. We've been able to ship our products to Canada, for example. We have sold our products to France, to Italy, and we are very happy because of the digital space. So we are not stopping from there. We continue encouraging them, and as I said, we have trained so many of them who have already even started training others. And much grateful for this privilege, and especially to the Dot community for supporting us, even through the seed capital that I received. It has enabled us so much to upscale our project and grow to this level. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ajawa, your organization, Women Heavens Africa, supported 50 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to go back on track during the pandemic. What role did technology play in this recovery? I think you're on mute. As we wait for the technical team to support Ajawa, over to you, Tadem. You have a really interesting perspective to share as the head of an online marketplace. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs who want to start or grow their business using e-commerce?
Yeah, thank you again, Violette. The advice I can give to my fellow youth who are following us now, it is like, first of all, let's think about what happened in the previous years. the only thing we can do or we can be as an entrepreneur, you have always to be ready to accept any change can happen in your business. So that's what happened. Where before COVID, everyone involved in business was doing it well. Everyone was able to move around and do business together. But when the COVID pandemic hit, no one was allowed to move around. Everything was kind of stopped. So lucky as, or like it was a great thing that at least online things was already in place, that such online marketplaces was in place that could help people to continue doing their business while they are home. So what the advice I could give them, like youth who are engaged into business, is that it can't be a bad thing for you to have your physical shop or to have your product and your own way you are selling it to physical interact, and also have another one operating online. It is like you have 3 or 4 more shops opened in the same city or in the same country. So I will tell them to adopt this opportunity to use online marketplaces. But again, I will mention like 3 tips or 4 tips they can follow in order to know which appropriate online marketplace or online shopping website that or e-commerce platform that I can work with. First of all, you have to understand and know your target market, because all the online marketplace or e-commerce platforms, they are not targeting the same group of people. So it's for you to understand and to know, to do the market and to know which platform is targeting the same target market as my client. That's the first one. The second one, you have to check for the security things. You have to know that the platform is more secured so that your customer won't have issues or doubt to use it while they want to buy your product. The third one is that also you have to think about how they are operating. Are they going to handle all the logistics part and the payment part for your product, or you'll be going to be the one doing it for yourself? So you have to identify a marketplace to work with. Like for example, here in Rwanda, we have different marketplaces. As I can say, we have Olado Mine that is helping connecting vendors and buyers by selling from imported products, like from household appliances, electronics, and sport equipment. But we are also focusing on helping Made in Rwanda producers to sell their products to the local market and international market. But we also have some others, like Vuba is selling food products. Those are food products. We also have another one called Murukari. They are selling groceries. So those are like 3 different platforms I can give you that can show you how to differentiate their target group or their target market. Those are the kind of advice I can give them, and also like encourage them to use digital. Even though you have your product listed on the platform, as my colleague was saying, we also have social media. We know that social media nowadays is doing everything. Like everything is happening on social media. So create a social media platform, create social media platforms for your company, for your startup. List all your product there, advert, approach your client, like do the visibility for your product, and then lead those people who are following you on your social media platforms to the online marketplace you are using, so that they can find more for your product and be able to order it online and get it delivered to your doorstep. My fellow youth, let's grab the opportunity we have to have infrastructures and internet and use it purposely, like use it and gain it from it, not using it like for social. Yes, social is good, but also let's use it for our business purpose. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome back, Ajawa.
Thank you.
Your organization, Women Havens Africa, supported 50 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to get back on track during the pandemic. What role did technology play in this recovery?
Thank you very much. Great to be back. So yes, Women's Haven Africa, in the midst of the pandemic, we conducted a research to find out how women in business had been affected by COVID. And we realized that most of them, because of the lockdown, had lost their businesses. Some had their customer base reduced, their sales as well reduced, and most of them were actually in the house. So this project was actually to get them back on track by exposing them to digital platforms that they could use to be able to scale in the midst of the pandemic. Out of the 50, about 90% were not online. They actually did not have any digital presence for their businesses. And one funny thing was that most of them had access to mobile phones that had access to internet. And most of them would just take pictures with their phones, post on Facebook and all of that, but did not know how they could actually leverage technology to be able to scale their businesses. And so this training provided them with various digital tools, like how they could actually use Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing to be able to market their businesses, and even how they can create their own content with a digital platform as simple as Canva. And so this training actually got them to create business pages on Facebook and then Instagram. And then also with the knowledge and skills they acquired in Canva, they were able to create their own promotional materials. And before this training, we realized that because they were not online, they could not work. And so in the midst of the pandemic, they had difficulties taking care of their families. Because in Ghana, most of these MSMEs are operating, through the hand-to-mouth method. They just go to town, they go to the market, they come back, and then whatever money they get, that is what their family actually thrives on. And so this actually enabled them to now get another opportunity to still earn some income whilst they stay in the house. And then out of all this 50, about the 90% who were not online now have their businesses present online. And their businesses are not just online waiting for someone to manage for them. They also acquire the skills to be able to create their own content. Those who were busy and could not even create content, because of Canva, they are able to schedule their posts. And so no matter what, even if you are a woman with a baby, no matter what, even if you have special needs, you are still able to stay in your house and be able to do business. And one thing that made it, crowned everything for me were the women who had disabilities, who already had issues and difficulties working, moving from the house to work. Now, getting their businesses online gave them the opportunity to actually work from home. All that they needed to do was to set up their business pages and then be able to create content, promotional materials to market their businesses. After 3 months of tracking their impact, we realized that they had acquired a larger customer base, their sales had increased, and then they were making their income as well had also increased. And so this was the impact that we tracked from the project that was conducted.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you all for your great insights. A reminder to everybody, we want to hear from you. How did you use technology to adapt and thrive during the pandemic? What advice do you have for your fellow youth? Please share in the chat. To end, I want our panelists to reflect on the future. We are all invested in building back better together, and DOT is committed to taking action on the youth-led recommendation shared in the Speaking Out, Reaching Out report. Tadim, I want to start with you. Going forward, how could an ecosystem of partners support young people to take full advantage of the opportunities presented by online marketplace?
Thank you so much again, Violette. Yes, policymakers and the policymakers or the stakeholders, they are always there to support us. Because we already, let's take an example of here in Rwanda, we already have infrastructures in place. We already have their support. When I'm talking about this, I refer to what happened in the pandemic, because as I said before, e-commerce was not known in the country, like the visibility was a bit low. But the policymakers already knew our issues and they were working on something. So like to mention like few things that have been put in place during the pandemic that helped us, that's going to be an example to show that we have support already from the stakeholders. Stakeholders, I mean government, I mean these kind of organizations like DOT and so many others who are always there to support us. So one of the things they did for us that helped us to boost our visibility, they immediately, when the pandemic hit, they immediately put in place, they released a list of e-commerce platforms that people can rely on to do their business, or people can rely on to do their online, their normal shopping, like to continue their life. To continue living their life. So they released the list. To release that list gives us a visibility, gives us a trust from the client, from both sides. Clients who are going to use our platform to buy products, and also vendors who want to use, whom we want to work with to put them on our platforms. So it's created trust, it created credibility, and created visibility. Those are the kind of support we always get from our stakeholders. But again, when we talk about opportunities are there, but we have to know that opportunities, it's for us to look for opportunities, not for, like, you can't sit where you are and in your comfort zone and think that opportunity will find you there. Like, let's be updated. Let's use our youth energy, like to do the research, to be updated, you know, to try to be aware on what is happening, what is opportunity that is there. I'm into this sector. I'm in fashion and garment or creation, whatever. So what is the opportunity that is in the sector so that I can grab it? And then within that, grabbing that opportunity will also be a way, you will also get the opportunity to share your input and your feedback. You also, like, we will get a way to expose our challenges to the leaders. So I think from that one, leaders will be able to know what is the challenges we are facing, and they will see how to overcome it. From kind of advice I can give, or what I can ask, like, from us who are doing e-commerce. As we are doing e-commerce, we also look for scaling up our businesses, to do cross-border businesses. So we are still facing challenges, like all the policies that are in between there for us to do the cross-border businesses. Let's take an example. If you want to sell a product that are made here, like avocado oil that are made here in Rwanda, to sell them abroad, like outside Kigali, like in Kenya or in Ghana, there are some policy that we have to fulfill on the borders so that the product can be shipped in all completing all the regulations. There are also, like, some international standards that we have to meet. All those are the requirement we are asking to the stakeholders to put in place so that it can ease our business and help us to grow our business and scale to the international market.
Yeah, thank you so much. Jesse, July 2020 Smart Ladies has reached over 500 women from across your district in Kenya. You have also made efforts to reach women with disabilities and other underrepresented groups. What advice do you have for your fellow peers looking into closing the digital divide through their own initiatives or communities?
Thank you so much, Violette. I will want to say when it comes to gender issues, when it comes to digital inclusion, gender issues is very important. And we want to really make sure that we support the women to actualize their potential fully. So what I was able to do, because COVID-19 really impacted on women, we all know that. And mostly, actually, the mostly impacted also was the PWDs. And what we want to do is, I want us to nurture men champions, like just me. I want to encourage the men, even who are listening to me just right now, that we can do. If I was able to do this, we can do it, all of us. Suppose we reach out to other 5 men who can also reach out to 1,000, 2,000. The women will grow in numbers. And also another advice that I would want women champions, women ambassadors, who can always go outside there and empower other women. In my initiative, I started actually my initiative with one lady. And in the process, I started getting more and more interest. Even the parents started trusting us with their girls, and even the husbands were sending their wives to come and train with us. So I believe if we raise women champion, we will be able to reach out to a bigger space. And this is going to be of great help. Why am I saying this? When women do something, actually they're not doing for their own, they're doing it for the whole community, they're doing it for the whole society. So I want to urge all of us here that yes, it is where they are. Let us go to their chamas. Let us go to where we can locate them. That is what we used to do. We could use all the platforms possibly. We could go to churches. We could go to, even on the market, we reach out to them. And why we also wanted to empower people living with disabilities, it's very important. We wanted not to leave anyone behind. We wanted to work with all of us. I remember there is this time the policemen were chasing, in Africa, people were forced to, forced to wear masks. And there's this time the policemen were chasing one of some people in the market. And when I saw somebody was being beaten, the policeman never knew that that person was a deaf. He could not hear or listen to why I was around, and I went to talk to the police, and they were able to rescue this person. But because he was a deaf, nobody was able to support them. And I went even further to allocate this person. He was called Juliana, and I called to my initiative. Juliana, she's doing great now. I'm very happy. She's one of the ladies champions. She's training women with disability. And that is really, really what we wanted. So I believe this is very possible. If we can combine our efforts together, there is still a big gap to be filled with women who are not yet reached, and PWDs who are not supported yet. So it's not a one-man show. Everybody should come together. We should call out to the government institution. We should call out to the other organizations of the like-minded, so that we come together and speak for the women and support them and tell them that they can do better where they are, so that we can reach out to many women in this region. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Finally, Ajawa, as it relates to technology, what support is still most needed to help youth recover from the impact of the pandemic?
Thank you very much. So I have 3 things to talk about. We have been training women for the past years, and one thing we realize is that they are unable to actually scale because of accessibility, connectivity, and then also resources. Most often we train some of these young girls into particular tech skills, and then after the training, they are unable to assess the available or the needed resources that they actually need after the program. And so, for instance, you train about 30 young girls in digital media. at the hub, they have access to the camera and all of that, but they go back to their communities and they do not have access to these resources. That means that ends their journey. So we are calling on the government and all other stakeholders to support in terms of, importantly, the resources, so that these young girls and women can have access to the right tools and the resources, and that will even get them more interested in tech. Also, in terms of accessibility, we want tech to be accessible to the disabled, to people in the rural areas, the youth, no matter where they are. We want them to have equal access to the internet, equal access to get connected. And the last thing is also connectivity. Just as I was talking, I had to, there was connectivity issues, and this is what we are talking about. We need the government, we need all relevant stakeholders to be able to come together, to be able to help us access the internet, provide resources to the youth so that they are able to scale and their passion is not quenched. And then also connectivity issues are also solved. I believe that in the future, these are the three things that we need to be able to get everybody included.
Thank you very much. This has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you to our panelists, Ajawa, Tadim, and Jesse. This has been just a small sample of the ways in which young people locked down and logged on during the pandemic. Thank you all for your kind attention, and I will turn it back to our amazing hosts, Nahema and Adele. Thank you very much.
Thank you again to our panelists for such an inspiring session. Ajoa, Jesse, and Tadim offered a glimpse into what was happening in Ghana, Kenya, and Rwanda. And next, we're going to take a deeper dive into the findings from each country. So you all selected a breakout room to join when you registered for the event, and that is where we are heading in a few minutes.
So some quick housekeeping for these breakout rooms. Each session is going to start with a presentation of the country findings. The rest of the time will be a facilitated discussion where our different presenters will pose questions to you. So for the youth, this is your chance to unmute your mic and share your thoughts or write your comments in the chat. Your comments will be recorded by a note taker and may be shared on the DOT website in the days after the summit. So because of this, we will also be recording each breakout room. For non-youth attendees, this is a time to sit back, listen, and learn from our youth guests. With that, I'll ask our tech team to open the breakout rooms. Okay, actually, I'm already being invited to one. You should be automatically added to a room in a few seconds. If you're not added automatically, one of our tech members will direct you. There we go.
Hi everyone, tech support here. If you have not been assigned a breakout room, that is most likely because you have joined with a different name from what you have registered with, or you've used a different email. I'm going to assign people manually. Give me a minute or two. If you're not assigned, we will assist you. Thank you. All right, for the ones that are still on the main stage, I will ask you one by one if you could unmute yourself and just confirm the country. I see a name by a person by the name C. Kialo. Unfortunately, I cannot assign you because I don't see the full name. C. Kialo, if you're hearing me, can you confirm what country you're from? Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. You can also leave your comments on the chat. Thank you, Catherine Kialo. All right, Kalisa, I see your message. I'm sending you to Dot Ethiopia's room. Wilson Mawigi, can you confirm you're from Dot Kenya? Yes, thank you, Wilson. I see your message now. Thank you. And for the rest of you, I unfortunately cannot assign you because of your names. Could you please confirm in the chat which country you're from?
and packaging.
Welcome back, everyone. We'll just wait for the rest of the group to join back. Thank you for all joining and trickling back in. We'll just wait a few more seconds before we get started. Yes, and as you come back, please do remember to mute yourselves if you're not speaking. Well, as people trickle in, I just wanted to welcome back everyone. We hope you had a good session. There were some really rich discussions, and we would love to hear from you about something interesting that you learned during the breakout room. So while we wait for people to trickle in, please post in the chat to share some interesting learnings with the group. So we'll be monitoring the chats for any comments or feedback. But if you can share with us one thing that you've learned during the breakout rooms, we'd love to hear from you. I know one thing, I was in the Ghana group, and it was quite interesting to talk about how internet is used. And so one thing is clear, that the social, economic, and business conditions have worsened for everyone. And looking at how are online tools leveraged for business purposes is quite interesting. So while internet and mobile penetration rates are quite high in many countries, numbers show that the majority of young entrepreneurs do not use social media for their businesses. And so, for example, in Ghana, only half of the youth use internet or social media for their business, in a country where there is an 80% internet penetration rate among young people. So really, really interesting conversation around what is needed to build societies and communities that are digitally literate and that are able to use internet for their entrepreneurial needs. But let's go back to the chat, and I'm going to read out a few. So Boniface Kamara is saying that there are more smartphones in Kenya with a 30% plus than laptops. So let's have more pro-smartphone programs, so favoring mobile use, mobile training programs delivered through mobile, given the tech that is used. So that's something that was learned in the Kenya group. Sumaila is sharing that they had a really great discussion, and she was surprised to know that many young people don't use the social media for business. Yeah, so exactly what I was sharing. So this is shared across different groups. And Bernard Kujuya from Kenya says that over 70% of Kenyan youth have access to smartphones and less than 30% have access to laptops. Yes, that's certainly something that comes back again. And Hope is saying that online markets are available and willing to help people sell their products. It's a great opportunity for young people. Absolutely, it has opened up this new opportunity to use mobile products and online markets to shift how those products and services are offered. So we can see some common points here across all the groups. Great. I don't see any more comments, but thank you all for sharing. It's been really great. Oh, Peter, one more comment from Peter. Peter saying that the Ghana team did a great research work. Absolutely, I do agree with that. And it's interesting to learn that most young entrepreneurs primarily using their savings and borrowings to keep their business afloat. And I think this is true for many entrepreneurs, especially young entrepreneurs that are their cash flow is not doing so great, and they're using all of their savings to do that, and perhaps even getting into debt in order to keep their businesses open. And that is a very sad reality for many people, many entrepreneurs across all countries, certainly. So thank you again all for sharing. I'll hand it back to Nima to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Adil. So in the reaching out, speaking out findings, using financial savings was the primary strategy that youth used to cope with the effects of the pandemic. So talking about funding for young business owners deserves a whole event, right? So that's what is happening later this week in a virtual event hosted by the Global Impact Makers Advisory Board, IMAB. IMAB is a group of social entrepreneurs and impact makers convened by DOT. And one of them is our next speaker, Paulo Mpokwa. Paulo is an entrepreneur and the founder of Fundi App. Fundi App is an on-demand mobile application that connects vetted handymen, providing different types of installation, repair, and maintenance services in the informal sector to customers in the wider market. Paulo is a winner of the Dare to Change Tanzania 2019 award, and he's passionate about the use of emerging technologies to drive improvements in development sectors in Africa. Welcome, Paulo.
Thank you so much, Nima. Thank you. And thank you so much, everybody. This is a great event, and it's a privilege to be here among so many inspiring youth and thought leaders as well from across the world. It's an honor, really. Please allow me to briefly reintroduce myself. My name is Paulo Mpokwa. I'm a social entrepreneur from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. But today I'm here on behalf of the body called Impact Makers Advisory Board, or as we like to call it, IMAB. So you're probably wondering by this time, what is IMAB? Why IMAB? And how did it really come to be? And I'm here to tell you all about this exciting initiative. So IMAB again stands for Impact Makers Advisory Board, which is a group made of philanthropists, impact investors, and young social entrepreneurs from across the world who share a common vision to build a bridge between funders and fundees who are young social entrepreneurs in order to close the funding gap and expand access to financing and other forms of support for early stage young social entrepreneurs, especially here in Africa. So one of our goals at the moment is to bring together stakeholders who will uplift and help support these youth-led enterprises in order to enable them to build better, scale faster, and more sustainably as well. And I want to talk a little bit about the co-design process of the Impact Makers Advisory Board, or IMAB. So IMAB was co-designed by a group of 8 passionate individuals who are going to be potentially the founding board members under the umbrella of Digital Opportunity Trust. So during the co-design process, we were able to identify several challenges, but also possible solutions for these challenges that young social entrepreneurs face while raising funding here in Africa. For instance, we identified that there's a lack of trust and transparency between funders and fundees. But we also pinpointed that there's little peer support and networks for early stage entrepreneurs where they can connect and also be able to share and gain different opportunities. But furthermore, we placed that funders often fund what is most familiar to them or what is less risk to them. I read an Africa funding report by an organization called Disrupt Africa 2021. And in one of the statistics in the report was that over 75% of all the funding that came to Africa last year went to fintech, e-commerce, and e-health. But we believe that there are other areas of impact that also, deserve an opportunity to be looked at, with the same or similar level of attention. Last but definitely not least, we recognized that across the board, there's a clear intention to change some of these funding practices, but still, young people are not being funded. And this is why we are building IMAB as a platform where these young social entrepreneurs are going to feel that it is a safe space to share their stories, success stories, but also challenges that they face while raising funding here in Africa. But we also want this space to be a place where they can network amongst themselves, but also with different funding opportunities from out there. But we think it can also be a great opportunity for peer learning and mentorship. And above all else, we want to foster an environment of trust. And that is why on the 17th of March, this Thursday, we're going to host an interactive launch event to celebrate the launch of the co-design report and that of the Impact Makers Advisory Board itself. A link has been shared via chat where you can register to attend this amazing and exciting event. Please click on the chat, click on the link and register. The event will be on the 17th of March, this Thursday, between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. East African time. This event is going to be divided into two parts. In the first part, we are going to hold breakout room sessions where we are going to hold meaningful discussions around 4 thematic areas. These areas include tech, agriculture and climate, gender and health, and marginalized and displaced communities. And in the second part of the event, we're going to hold a panel discussion of funders, where we will have funders discuss different early stage funding models and also how to become investment ready. And some of the most prominent funders that we are going to host from across the continent include those from Village Capital, Mexico Ventures, East Africa Philanthropy Network, Women First Fund, and the Sigo Family Foundation. So this is going to be a vibrant event, a lively event, a youthful event designed for you. We'll be so excited to have you there on March 17th between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Come early, 10 minutes before time, make sure you're settled and ready to listen and contribute as well. I'm so excited and I look forward to seeing all your beautiful faces on the day of the event. Thank you so much and over to you. Nemo.
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you for sharing about the Global Impact Makers Advisory Board event. We have posted the registration link for that virtual event in the Zoom chat. And it's really exciting to learn about the Global IMAP. It gives us more pride in being part of the DOT movement as we mobilize young social innovators. DOT has listened, and we're proud to launch the IMAP on March 17th. So with that said, we are ready to close today's events. For anyone who wants to stay though, we have a special skill build session coming up. And to everyone else, thank you for joining us today. An extra special thanks to our speakers, panelists, and partners, especially the Mastercard Foundation, for their support in making this Speaking Out, Reaching Out project a reality. We also want to thank our DOT country teams, our expansion partners in Ghana and Uganda, the Ghana Think Foundation, and the Youth Equality Center.
Thank you. You can keep up with DOT on social media at Digital Op Trust and online at dotrust.org. Watch our website and social media feeds over the next week. We're going to be sharing the key insights from this summit and the breakout sessions you attended. In the chat, we've also shared the link to a blog post where you'll find our first Speaking Out, Reaching Out report. And everyone, of course, is welcome to stay, as Adil said, with us for the final 20 minutes to unlock a free skill building course. If you have to drop now, I'd like to wish you a great rest of your day. And thank you so, so much for joining us and taking your time to be here.
My type of girl, so divine, no easy to find. Hey, lay low, log on, about to make it formal. Yeah, it's just 1 minute. Yeah, about to do it in 1 minute.
And for everyone who is sticking around for the skill build session, we will be starting in 3 minutes.
Yeah, about to do it in 1 minute. Baby, a great option, solution. All Nengeli John Fana Nasmanya to the Baluganda. I don't know. Nabulelo Goyelu Kunyumila. Gwemanya Oli Wadala Mowita Wogota Somanga Manda Tolivanga Nakomutwe. Singomanye Pulila Mukwano Jem Pulila. Like blood flow, you flow in my veins. Hey, lay low. Log on. About to make it formal. Yeah, it's just 1 minute. Yeah, about to do it in 1 minute. It's just 1 minute. Yeah, about to do it in 1 minute. Baby, you are false. You
We'll just give it a few more seconds. All right. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. Something we heard from youth when we designed the summit was that there's still demand for practical hands-on training and not just a summit or a convening. And that's why we've invited DOT's Senior Program Development Manager, Walid Abu Saifan, to share a special opportunity exclusively for our summit participants. Walid, over to you.
Thank you, Adel. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nima. Thanks for everyone who made this such a wonderful event, actually. So, as Adel said, one thing that we do and we are keen to do always is to be on the ground and hear the feedback and incorporate everything and be involved in co-design. The conversations that were in the breakout rooms were amazing, actually. And I would like to know, just before going into showing you the system and the course that is going to be open for you, I would like just to renew our commitment towards being with the youth, being on the ground to program as program development. And most importantly, our commitment to 21st century skills, to learning how to learn, and our renewed commitment towards streamlining gender into our programs, environmental awareness, and most importantly, our commitment going forward towards people with disabilities, whether on our platforms or in our face-to-face programs. We are committing towards revising many of our trainings along with our platforms to be more adherent to standards for people with disabilities like ARIA 1.0, like WCAG 2.1. And we are committing towards having further efforts in this regard. I would like to also note that our programming is always dynamic. We always take into consideration the feedback and we always welcome that. I can see we're at the top of the hour. I'm not gonna be long with this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually share my screen and just show you, we are going to open the possibility to self-enroll, self-learn, and two major courses that DOT offers online. In a self-learning methodology, and those courses are first social media marketing, and it handles managing your social media pages and accounts and running ad campaigns. And the second is called Microwork, which helps everyone develop their freelancing skills and their freelancing resources. So the process will be as follows. You can see my screen. So Perfect. You will receive this link that is being pasted on the chat right now, and you will be able to fill this form to self-enroll. Then, after self-enrolling, you should receive one of those emails, and this is within a period of 3 days, where you will have access to your accounts on the learning platform along with your password, of course, and your username. And the link will take you to this learning platform. You can log in using the credentials you have just received. I'm going to very quickly and briefly overview the interface and then go into one of the learning modules. This is the interface, and this is the overview of the interface. You can see that we have incorporated many tools for you to self-monitor, to assess your own learning, and hence to add your own to-dos and to take your own notes. I will go into one learning unit, where you can see that the interface offers you the overview, objectives, instructions, and activities, materials, resources, and the feedbacks. We can start from any. I will go directly to the instructions and activities. Basically, this is where the activities start. You will be guided by a tour to the interface. If you go directly to the content, you can start directly engaging in the interactive content. There is always a read more if you're interested to go further into the concepts. And there are always activities and interactive videos that gather your feedback for self-assessments. Then you can click on next activities once you finish the activities and go into further learning, where you will reach finally an assessment and accordingly be awarded with a certificate. Basically, this is the interface. It's 21st century oriented, it's self-learning oriented. And I wish you all the good luck. The courses will be open for 3 months. You can either enroll in one course or in both courses. And you will have 3 months to self-learn those courses. Thank you, and over to you, Ali. Thanks.
Thank you, Waleed, and I'll hand it to Nima.
Thank you, Adil. Like Waleed mentioned, we will be sending all the skill build info to you all via email. So with that, we are ready to close today's Speaking Out, Reaching Out Youth Summit. Thank you to all for attending. We know you have busy lives, busy jobs, and we appreciate your time and enthusiasm today. We do not take that for granted. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you can keep up with DOT on social media at Digital Op Trust and on our website at dotrust.org. If you are interested in DOT programs and opportunities after today, of course you should be. Make sure you join our Facebook group. Just go and search for #DOTYouth on Facebook. Over to you, Adil.
Thank you, Nima, and we hope you've all enjoyed the summit as much as we have. Thank you again, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.